Vietnam wasn't fought in open fields, it was fought in the jungle. And for U.S. soldiers, survival came down to one thing: the weapon they carried. We'll break down every United States weapon used against Vietnam. Let's start with standard infantry rifles and carbines for jungle warfare. M16. The M16 became the most iconic American rifle of the Vietnam War. Lightweight and firing a smaller 5.56 mm round, it allowed soldiers to carry more ammunition through the jungle. Early versions, however, suffered from severe jamming problems due to poor ammunition and lack of proper maintenance training. Once improved, the M16 evolved into the standard rifle that defined modern American infantry. M14. Before the M16, the M14 served as the U.S. Army's primary rifle. It fired a powerful 7.62 mm round and was highly accurate, but its heavy weight and strong recoil made it difficult to control in jungle combat. Full auto fire was nearly unusable, and its length proved impractical in dense terrain. As a result, it was quickly phased out for lighter weapons. M1 Garand. Older rifles like the M1 Garand still appeared early in the war and among Allied forces. Known for its reliability and stopping power, it was already outdated by Vietnam standards. Its weight and limited capacity made it less suitable for jungle warfare, leading to its eventual replacement by modern designs. M1 M2 Carbine. The M1 and M2 carbines offered a lighter alternative for support troops and officers. Easier to handle in tight jungle environments, they provided mobility but lacked the stopping power of full-size rifles. The Select-Fire M2 variant added automatic capability, making it more useful in close combat. CAR-15 and XM-177. Special forces and helicopter crews favored the CAR-15 and XM-177. These compact versions of the M16 were designed for maximum maneuverability in dense jungle fighting. Shorter barrels and lighter frames made them ideal for rapid assaults, cementing their reputation among Allied United States units. Now let's move to submachine guns in close combat. M3 Grease Gun. The M3 Grease Gun was a simple, rugged submachine gun firing .45 caliber rounds. Cheap to produce and easy to maintain, it was favored by vehicle crews and support units. Though it had a slow rate of fire, its stopping power remained effective in close-quarters combat. Thompson SMG. The Thompson submachine gun, famous from World War II, also saw limited use in Vietnam. Extremely reliable and powerful, it was heavy and had limited magazine capacity. By the time Vietnam escalated, it was already being phased out in favor of lighter weapons. Next, we'll discuss machine guns that held the line. M60. The M60 became the backbone of U.S. infantry firepower. Firing 7.62 mm rounds from a belt, it delivered devastating suppressive fire during patrols and firefights. Though heavy and sometimes unreliable, it symbolized American fire superiority throughout the war. M1919. Older machine guns like the M1919 were still used in defensive positions and on vehicles. Known for reliability, they were heavy and less flexible than newer designs. Over time, they were largely replaced by the M60. M2 Browning 50 caliber. The M2 Browning .50 caliber machine gun dominated battlefields wherever it appeared. Mounted on vehicles, bases, boats, and helicopters, it delivered immense firepower against infantry and light structures. Its psychological impact alone made it one of the most feared weapons of the war. Let's move to sniper rifles and long-range precision. M40. The Marine Corps relied heavily on the M40 sniper rifle. Bolt action and extremely accurate, it allowed snipers to control large areas of jungle terrain. It played a crucial role in counter-sniper operations and long-range engagements. M21. The Army used the M21 sniper system, a modified M14 designed for precision shooting. Its semi-automatic capability allowed faster follow-up shots, making it effective in both jungle and open environments. Next, shotguns and tunnel fighting. Ithaca 37. Shotguns proved devastating in close-range jungle combat. The Ithaca 37 was widely used for patrols, ambushes, and tunnel clearing. Its stopping power at short distances made it ideal for sudden encounters. Winchester Model 12. The Winchester Model 12 also saw extensive use. Known for reliability and simplicity, it excelled in dense vegetation where engagements happened within seconds. Now let's move grenades, launchers, explosives, rocket weapons, and anti-armor. M79. The M79 grenade launcher gave infantry a powerful indirect fire option. Firing 40mm grenades with precision, it allowed soldiers to hit enemies behind cover. Nicknamed the Thumper, it became one of the most versatile weapons of the war. XM-148. Later, underbarrel systems like the XM-148 and M203 allowed soldiers to fire grenades without switching weapons. This greatly increased battlefield flexibility and efficiency. M72 Law. The M72 Law provided lightweight anti-armor capability. Though designed for tanks, it was mainly used against bunkers and fortified positions in Vietnam's jungles. M20 Bazooka. Earlier in the war, heavier systems like the M20 Super Bazooka were still present. Powerful but cumbersome, they were gradually replaced by lighter launchers better suited for jungle combat. M18 Claymore. The M18 Claymore mine became essential for base defense and ambushes. Directional and remotely detonated, it delivered devastating effects against attacking forces. Next, we'll discuss mortars and indirect firepower. 60mm. Mortars played a critical role in Vietnam. The 60mm mortar provided lightweight, portable fire support for infantry patrols. 81mm. The 81mm mortar offered longer range and sustained fire, becoming a staple of U.S. operations. 4.2-inch. Heavy 4.2-inch mortars delivered massive explosive power against enemy fortifications and base assaults. Let's move to flamethrowers and psychological warfare. M67 Flamethrower. The M67 flamethrower was used to clear bunkers and tunnel systems. While terrifyingly effective, it was extremely dangerous for the operator and required immense courage to deploy in combat. Next chapter is helicopter-mounted and air weapons. M134 Minigun. The M134 minigun transformed helicopter warfare. Mounted on gunships, it fired thousands of rounds per minute, turning landing zones into kill zones. Door-mounted M60S. Door-mounted M60S protected troop helicopters during insertions and extractions. These weapons fundamentally changed how air assault operations were conducted. Rocket pods. Rocket pods and gun systems mounted on helicopters delivered rapid, overwhelming firepower, providing close air support in areas unreachable by ground forces. Let's move to riverine and boat-mounted firepower. 50 caliber boat gun. In Vietnam's rivers, patrol boats were armed with .50 caliber machine guns to dominate supply routes. Recoilless rifles. Recoilless rifles mounted on boats allowed U.S. forces to destroy fortified riverbank positions, making riverine warfare a unique and brutal front. Next topic is about all experimental and special operations weapons. SPIW, Special Purpose Individual Weapon. Born from America's obsession with future warfare, the SPIW program aimed to replace the standard rifle with a single weapon capable of firing bullets, grenades, and flechettes. Designed in the early 1960s, it featured ultra-high velocity projectiles and integrated grenade launchers meant to overwhelm enemies instantly. On paper, it promised unmatched lethality. In reality, the weapon proved overly complex, unreliable in jungle conditions, and impossible to field effectively. The SPIW never reached combat, but it shaped decades of small arms research. XM-148 Grenade Launcher. Developed as an experimental underbarrel grenade launcher for the early M16, the XM-148 was intended to give infantry organic explosive firepower without slowing movement. Lightweight and capable of firing 40mm grenades, it offered impressive versatility in theory. However, its exposed trigger system and safety flaws made it dangerously prone to accidental discharge. Field tests revealed it was more hazardous to the operator than the enemy, leading to its rapid replacement by the safer M203. Stoner 63 Weapon System. Designed as a revolutionary modular weapon, the Stoner 63 could be configured as a rifle, carbine, or light machine gun using interchangeable components. This flexibility made it especially attractive to U.S. Special Forces operating in Vietnam. In combat, it proved accurate, lightweight, and adaptable to jungle warfare. However, its sensitivity to dirt and need for meticulous maintenance made it unsuitable for mass adoption. Despite limited use by SEALs, the system remained an experimental success rather than a standard issue weapon. Harrington and Richardson T223/XM16E1 prototypes. Before the M16 became infamous, multiple experimental variants were rushed into Vietnam for testing. These early models emphasized lightweight aluminum construction and high-velocity 5.56 mm fire. Soldiers praised their accuracy and controllability compared to heavier battle rifles. Unfortunately, poor ammunition choices and the lack of chromeline chambers caused catastrophic reliability issues. These failures nearly killed the M16 program, but also forced improvements that saved it. Gyrojet rocket pistol. One of the strangest weapons ever tested in Vietnam, the gyrojet fired miniature rockets instead of bullets. Developed to reduce recoil and increase lethality over distance, the weapon was nearly silent and extremely lightweight. At full range, its rocket rounds were devastating. But at close range, where jungle combat actually happened, the projectiles were weak and inaccurate. Combined with high costs and poor reliability, the gyrojet disappeared almost as quickly as it appeared.